What's going on, construction dorks? Welcome back to Tech You Should Try. In this series of videos, we test out the latest hardware and software so you don't have to, and plus, we have a good time doing it. With that being said, I'm your construction dork, James Hillegas. And these videos are broken down into 4 parts. One is, who is the company, what problem they're trying to solve. 2, we'll show you how to set up whatever it is their quote-unquote setup is, like go over some rules of thumb for a standard operating procedure. And 3, we will then go out and test whatever the software happens to be or the hardware happens to be. 4, we'll come back to mission control and make a determination and or recommendation. Now, I don't get anything for making these videos, so my views are impartial to the company. That being said, I'm not going to slander a product. If a product completely sucks and I really don't think it has any value, we're just not going to make a video about that product. Now, I'm also not going to sit here and pander and hand out participation trophies to companies that just have products. Now, I know being a millennial, that's kind of our thing. You know, you can come take a look at my office. I have them hanging up all over my wall, participation trophies. But we're not going to give out any here. So if a product honestly has things that you should keep in mind or critiques, we're going to say them during the video in a polite and respectful and professional manner. But we're not going to lie to you guys, because if I sit here and make videos and lie about products and you go out and test the product and it doesn't do what I told you in this video or isn't as good as I personally think it is, my credibility is shot. And I have a long career left, hopefully, so it's not very good for any of us. So with that being said, we'll do the best that we can to be very objective and remove as much subjectivity as possible. With that being said, today we are testing out StructionSite. And you can check out their website right here. It'll also be in the description box or the comment, but whatever you want to call it, box for you to click on. This is kind of a bit nostalgic because StructionSite was the very first like quote unquote tech you should try video I did when I was just like winging it myself. But this is going to be a little bit more professional, a little bit better polished. That one was done with the Rico Theta V, and you can go take a look at it. We'll post a link to it if you really want to, but just stay on this video. It's going to be a hell of a lot better. So in this one, they sent an Insta360 camera, Insta360 One X 360 action camera, 5.7K, flow stabilization, 18 megapixel. Oh yeah. So with that being said, they sent us this camera. I can't wait to test out the system of they call it Video Walk, and that's really what we're here to test out in the system. Again, StructionSite is trying to solve the infamous capture and or finding problem. Capturing, we'll do an ROI, rough math, but capturing, it's debatable if really, Video Walk or a walking system is that much faster. Really where you're going to find the most benefit with these camera capture storage solutions with the 360 cameras is going to be on data retrieval for whatever reason it might be. Hey, Rick, we need to find photos of this. And so Rick is going to go look at the schedule. He's going to try and think or read the daily reports, try and think all right, well, about that time we were doing this thing. Hopefully his photos are sorted somewhat by date, or he filters them by date. Then he tries to remember what floor it was on, or what floor he was on, or what floor the photo was from. Because when you're in a high-rise building and you're putting things together, every floor almost looks the same. So you snap, 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 and then you put up a number in front of the camera to know that you're on the next floor, or you take a photo. You know what I'm talking about if you've been there. So with that being said, let's go get StructionSite set up for our job site walk, and we'll show you guys how to use this camera. Now this camera particular is not a hard hat mounted camera. You can put it on a mono pole or selfie stick, I guess. That's got a screw hole in the bottom side of it, but we're simply just going to walk with it when we do our job site walk. So this is not a hard hat mounted camera. So we'll really find out how good the stabilization is when we walk, since we'll just be holding it. So that being said, let's jump into mission control. Let's get our job set. So now we're at mission control, and we've already logged into StructionSite. And I kind of feel like this is one of those food cooking shows because we already set up the job. It's been set up, but we're gonna go and rewind. It's like when they're like, oh, and then you just pull it out of the freezer after it's been freezing in advance because we're recording a show. So that being said, here's the job. It's very simple to set up. well, you just set your name, project photo if you want like a cover photo, description, job value, start date, end date. We can even do this as a test. Big building, 50, that much money, 05, 08, 20, 20, 08, 09, 20, 25. Add. And then you start adding drawings and going on from there. So we already have our job set up. Make sure you keep some kind of standards when you do set up your jobs with your name procedures. And if you want one specifically, a standard operating procedure for our StructionSite, you can contact me and I can give you the one that I wrote with some help from other people. So we already have our floor plan loaded, and from there, we're pretty much set up and ready to go. So it was pretty simple. It's not overly complex or complicated, which is nice and a huge benefit. So with that being said, we're gonna walk on out to the field, or go on out to the field, and do a video walk and see what it looks like. This is a 2 apartment building complex here in downtown Cleveland, and we're going to be trying out StructionSite, the new video feature, the video walk feature, which has been out for a while, and I'm really excited to try it out. I've tried it out once before with the Ricoh Theta V. Bad camera to do video walk on. So with that being said, we already set everything up in the web app. If you want to see how to set that up, you can get my standard operating procedure for how I like to use StructionSite. You can go to my Patreon page and download it, or you can reach out to me and I'll gladly help you guys out, answer questions, go from there. But we are going to do the 3rd floor of, this is building B, and we're just going to get into it. So first, what you're going to want to do is obviously turn on your camera. Every camera is a little bit different. Once it turns on, you're going to want to obviously connect to it. Some cameras you can connect just via the Wi-Fi on the phone. Some cameras you have to connect via the app of the camera itself. So once we have the camera powered on, we open up StructionSite. You can see 3rd floor, building B, where this little orange dot. Connect a video walk compatible camera. This is the Insta360 1X. Camera is connected, and basically let's locate ourselves. We are standing right here, and that being said, I'm going to get into the walk.
Don't touch the ball, it's over, call it close, but we all know what this is gonna be. You came and failed the test, you met the best, expected chess, but got monopoly. I came and bought you out, I knocked you out, I cropped you out with no apologies. I am the hope, the heart, the faith, the spark, the one who will fulfill the prophecy. I just been counting, never lounging, climbing up mountains, bouncing back. Step in the ring, about you step back. They'll learn hot when I get on the track. I like it louder the most, watching all these sheep just buy down to the goat. If I can't decide, I'ma probably get both. We done celebrate, but right now I'm a toast, resurrected ghost. Outside, outside, looking at the stars, staring with my mouth wide. I ain't letting nobody stop me this time. With every single level that I reach, and
from there, you just simply return, or you end the camera wherever you wanted to end it. Now we'll go back to the office, we'll use the Wi-Fi, we'll quickly process the camera data, and we'll take a look at it. A couple things to note that are really critical, and they're mistakes that I always make, is one, a lot of foremen and superintendents, people that are in the field, tend to walk pretty quickly just because time is money. So when you do video walk, regardless of if it's StructionSite or anybody, honestly, you gotta walk slow. As someone told me once, you gotta walk like you have your favorite hot beverage in your hand and walk at that pace. And it's something you have to be very consciously aware of, because there will be times you speed up. Also, when I went around this building and did the recording, I didn't do the whole floor. I spent about 5 minutes and did a handful of rooms. The other thing to note is I didn't use a tripod. I just simply held the camera above my head like this, switching hands a couple times, stopping to switch hands, but your shoulders get kind of sore. If you have a really large building, it's probably a good idea to definitely get a tripod or a monopod or something to hold the camera, but that camera is being held by my tripod, so we just had to grin and bear it. So let's get everything cleaned up. Let's get back to the office. Let's take a look at the data, and let's make some recommendations and final conclusions on StructionSite's video walk. So now that the data has sunk or been synced with StructionSite, we'll pull it up, take a look at it. So you can see here, this was just this one walk. We've only done one walk. It was done on the 24th. It's pretty simple. So if there was multiple, it'd be on the slider. Now, some of the things you'll notice are different is the green dots where we started and the red dots wherever you finish. I end up finishing in the same room. I didn't do every rooms. All of this walking took about 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes. And all of the little individual dots do not appear when you walk. So as you're walking, if you notice, there was no path showing up on the recording for how I was flowing about the building. So basically I walked this way, I think, into this room, down here, and then into here, and then on down. And you can go through and you can see your path, and you can click these dots, and you can pull up the images, which are really nice. And very similar to a lot of the 360 things. It's pretty nice to get a view. Stabilization is very much improved from other cameras. I would definitely like to do a comparison using a tripod to see if I can improve some of the stabilization a little bit. As you can see, this is a little bit blurry, like that punch in the stud was a little blurry. But it's very, very easy to walk through. Unfortunately, we don't really have another frame really to make any reasonable comparisons. But the best functionality with StructionSite is its ability to export into a PDF and share that PDF. And in fact, that's what I shared with the rest of the office to really show people what 360 cameras can do for you. So StructionSite is a phenomenal app. The team over there has done a really good job, and it's one of the biggest things when evaluating general technology, whether hardware, software, is really the team behind it, and do they preach or practice what they're saying. And honestly, of all the companies, not even just talking about like when it comes to job site photos, I'm talking about all of the construction companies. I honestly think StructionSite is one of the best ones out there in terms of the people that are behind the product. And StructionSite in and of itself is very simple. It's very user intuitive. It's user friendly. It's pretty easy to understand. They do a great job onboarding. The app solves a huge need in the industry, which unfortunately the industry is very litigious, and taking photos is a huge part of what we do, documenting everything. And if you can take photos faster, and if you can find photos easier, it becomes you're much more organized. And that's one of the biggest, and in construction is really the art of organization. I mean, if you don't stay organized or stay on top of it, things quickly fall out of hand. And it's like one of the issues with paper is, like, if you ever gotten in a lawsuit or something, going through all those paper files to find what you needed to defend your position is it's a very challenging task to do. With StructionSite, you can create documentation in ways to help you get paid. And actually, I'll tell a short story. When I did this walk and I showed the results to some of our general superintendents, they told me a story of back in the day, in the late 90s, when he took photos of his jobs as a foreman with like film cameras, and then recorded audio of him describing what the photos were about. And when they got into an issue with the general contractor on this job in particular, and the GC at the end of the job didn't want to pay them tickets, which never happens to anybody, he was able to send them this file, and the evidence was so insurmountable in his favor that they just paid it all in full within the next couple days. And really, at the end of the day, some people just try to make it a little bit difficult and make you earn it. But if you're organized and you have all these photos using an app like StructionSite, you can offset and help you collect your money faster, which honestly is one of the biggest things in construction, is the management of cash flow. So you're not floating jobs or financing jobs. I want to thank you guys for watching this episode of Tech You Should Try. Again, you can check out StructionSite at StructionSite.com. You can reach out to anybody on their team. They're more than happily take care of you. If you have any questions about my review or more things in particular that I didn't address, by all means, you can reach out to me. We'll do some further updates, more specific ones of StructionSite, more very, very specific and niche, so to speak.
workflows and how it works and all that kind of stuff in future videos. This was meant to be an overview of the app, what problem they're trying to solve, how it solves that problem, and basic recommendations. And I recommend the app. I think 360 photos are a great way to get started with the technology in construction, because we already take photos anyway. It just helps one, make the data better because it's more accessible and easier to digest, and it makes the process of collecting photos a little bit faster. Instead of taking 6 photos a room, you can take 1 and just walk through that room instead of stopping. So it makes that process a little bit faster. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching this episode of Tech You Should Try. I'm your resident construction dork, James Hillegas, and I look forward to catching you guys in the next episode. Enjoy the ride and geek out.